Hey, Facebook, how are you? It is me, Kendra, with Uplifting Conversations with Kendra. Come on, let's get into this theme song. Uplifting, uplifting conversations with Kendra, with Kendra. Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah! It is so good to see everyone tonight. God bless you. I'm praying for you and with you. And we know our Father knows how to take care of his children. So let's not worry too much. Let's just keep in prayer and let God do what he does best, which is take care of this whole entire world because he is still on the throne and he is in full control. So tonight we're talking about submission again because this is part 4. And the reason we're talking about it again is because we got to get back around to where I actually started, which was I don't know if you remember, but the first uh episode about submission was because my sister had asked to talk about what it feels like, what it looks like in a godly fashion when you submit to your husband, when you finally do it God's way, what that looks like. And so, do y'all hear that train? That train is coming through like loud. I actually sleep through that. It is so funny. So, submission, I'm going to go over the definition again. Submission means, and this is coming from I'm going to show y'all this because I read this a lot. And I really would love it if everybody would get one of these, the Holman's Illustrated Bible Dictionary. This actually was a gift to me from my father in the gospel when I graduated college. And I have been reading it and enjoying it ever since. So, submission. It is voluntary placement of oneself under the authority and leadership of another. Submission is taught in the context of various relationships. In divinely ordained relationships, submission enables a unique Christian harmony based on God's good design. So just know that this is from God's mind. Man has their way of thinking and God has his way of thinking. And we know that God's way of thinking is much higher than ours and much better than ours. So because he's creator, I think I want to go with what he's thinking. So let's be clear. Okay, I want us to be very clear on some things. Of course, I mentioned being under submission under your husband. And I know a lot of things that we learned in this world were backwards and were really not what submission really is. But like I said, this is a God thing. So let's be clear. Adam's headship and authority in marriage were established before the fall or falling away from God. Adam was created first, according to Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. I'm just going to read the scripture so you can see what I'm saying. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. Now, 2. The command to leave and cleave was given to the man. Genesis 2:24. It says, therefore, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Thus giving him the responsibility, to establish the home. The woman is designated as a helper for the man. Genesis 2:18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helper comparable to him. That means one fit for the man. So he made us fit for our husbands. Next, the woman. Oh, we got that. The woman. Next, Adam's authority is seen in that he named Eve. We forget about these things. I'm so glad we went over this. I'm so glad my sister asked about this. Genesis 2:23. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. So Adam actually named his rib woman. That's awesome. And here's an interesting fact. Man was designated Adam, which was the term used to describe the whole entire human race. Genesis 1:26-27. Let's read that. Then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them. The Hebrew word Adam means man and mankind. So basically, man is supposed to be the head where God put him. The wife is instructed to submit to the authority of her husband as to the Lord in Ephesians 5:22-23. Well, it says 22-33, so let me see. We might have to read that whole thing. Ephesians 5. Oh, here it is. Wives, verse 22, Ephesians 5. Wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. Well, that is right there. So, I went the long way to get back to what my sister wanted to point out, which was that joy and love come into your marriage when you submit or place yourself under the authority of your husband. I did it this way because I wanted us to understand. I had to write all this down. There is submission involved in every relationship. Remember, we talked about the child and parent. We talked about the government and the citizens. We talked about us and God. And we talking about husband and wife. But we started the conversation with husband and wife. But I had to touch on all these points. If it were not, the relationships would not work. If submission was not involved in every relationship, it just wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. Everybody would want to be the boss. Nobody would want to be servant or the helper. And that's just not the way God set it up. I want us to understand we don't have to be afraid of submission because, well, we're already doing it, and submitting is what God tells us to do. I want us to know that when we submit to God the Father and obey him, submitting in every other kind of relationship will indeed come easy. When we submit to God, we don't have to fear submitting to anyone else, especially our husbands. When we submit to our husbands in the way God says to do it, we'll be able to put down that load we've been carrying for so long. We'll be able to be women living out the role God intended. We won't have to be the one who makes it happen. God will do that. What I'm saying is, when we learn to trust God and do what he says, whatever role we play in life will be much easier. I'll leave you with my favorite Proverbs. Proverbs 3, verse 5 and 6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. So no matter what we do, it still goes back to submitting to God, trusting God, obeying God, doing what God the Father has told us to do from the very beginning. So I hope that helps you release the negativity that we've grown up with around the word submit. And just know that I personally have learned that I don't have to try to be man and woman. I can truly be woman now because I have a husband who has a willing mind to please the Lord. And that is easier to submit up under than just going out and finding anybody. You got to find a man. Well, the man has to find you that is willing to please the Lord. I learned that I didn't have to be in control of absolutely everything. It really did lift the load. It gave me space to be who I am as what God wanted me to be, which is a woman, a wife, a mother, a daughter, a friend, a sister. So those being able to do that and not have a I'm looking for the right word, not have it's a weight, it's a heaviness to uh, the way you live life. It's a heaviness to your existence as a woman because you're trying to exist as a woman, yet you have to make these calls and call the shots, and you feel like you have to do the man's job as well because he's not. Listen to what I'm telling you. Even if this man is not doing his full job and you do yours under the Lord, following his word or being obedient to the Lord, he's going to make it easier for you. God has never lied to me, and he's never lied, period. But he's never lied, and he will see you through it, whatever it is. And if you're doing it like I've learned to do it, but I'm still learning to do it better every day, because you can't be your own person, be the man and woman of the house for 30 whatever years and then it just go away. I have to talk myself off a ledge sometimes and go, look, Lord, I'm sorry. I'm overstepping. What am I supposed to do right here in this moment? And some moments just call for me to be quiet. I don't even have to say okay. I just be quiet. And God handles it. When I tell you he's performed miracles in my face, I can be thinking something that my husband should do or that I think he should do or want him to do. And if it's along the lines of God's will, God will make him do it in that moment. Oh my God, I stand in awe many days going, wow, I should have been doing this a long time ago. But of course, because we have hard heads and we've been conditioned to the way of the world, it takes a long time for us to get back to what we're supposed to be doing. So I hope this really helps someone. This is not meant to be negative against anyone. This is just to uplift women in their role, uplift us all in our relationships with our families and with friends, and knowing that if we live right, the police, they ain't got no reason to look for us. If we pay our taxes, the IRS is not coming. If we pay our bills, the lights won't get cut off. I mean, it's just authority. It's submission all the way around. If we go to school and have respect for our teachers and ask for the correct help, we'll get what we need. I mean, it's always gonna be a submissive situation, no matter which relationship we're talking about. So don't be afraid of it. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening and keeping up with me. But I do want to announce before I let you go, June 25th. 12 to 2, Fighting Fear with Fear, Part 2. Okay? We're going to fight some more and we're going to win some more. And we're just going to dig a little deeper into that and pull things out and learn what we're really fighting against. We're going to put some names, some labels on some things and call it what it is. Sometimes it's sin, but a lot of times it's fear. And the fear actually can lead to sin. So I'm ready to unpack this suitcase and help anybody I can fight fear with the reverence of God, because that's what we're doing. We're going to fight these phobias with the reverence and respect and the love of God. That's how we're going to win in life. We can't win any other way. We need God the Father. I don't care what you say. You can do whatever you need to do, and preferably he'll be waiting for you like he waited on me. But I'm telling you, God is tired of our mess. So I would not take, these lessons this time for granted. I would be on my knees begging, Lord, what do I need to do? And getting in this word and just asking, like James 1 says, ask for wisdom if you lack it, and God will give it to you. He gives it liberally. So I would be asking. I ask all the time anyway, because trust me, I got a long way to go. I know not a whole lot of this. But what I do know, I'm willing to share with you all so that you don't have to take so long in getting what you need in order to live a fulfilling life with God, with God as your Father, because there's nothing like it. I cannot even express to you the joy I feel every day, even though everything doesn't go right. It's still such a joy being God's child because I know He's going to handle it. I know He's taking care of me already. He's already where I need Him to be. So when I stopped fighting, wanting what I wanted, and just learn to be obedient to His word and say, Lord, your will, not mine. Oh my goodness. You talking about lifting of weights, okay? And you just feel like God has you in the palm of His hand. He's got His fingers up like this, but there's no way that you can fall out. You just, me and my friend were talking. My bestest friend in the whole wide world were talking yesterday, and we were talking about God, driving the car. And then we was like, nah, He don't drive. He's the entire car. You get in and sit down. That's what you do. Sit your behind down somewhere. Humble yourself in the sight of the Lord. And He will lift you up. He will get you where you are trying to go, where He really intended for you to go in the first place. So everybody, I love you. Oh yeah. Go on to YouTube. Click onto my channel, Uplifting Conversations with Kendra. Subscribe. And of course, hit that notifications bell. And I will be putting some new stuff on tomorrow. So I love you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great week and be lifted up.